The all-new past paradox form of Raikou is finally here, and it's quickly become one of the most popular new additions to competitive singles. This Pokemon sets itself apart from the original Raikou in one very noticeable area. It has a much longer and larger neck. This is considered by many to be the most innovative Pokemon since Alolan Exeggutor. In the original beta tests, this Pokemon was aptly named Great Neck, but later in development they made the significant error of renaming this Pokemon to Raging Bolt, which is much less descriptive. In any case, Raging Bolt is a welcome new addition to the metagame. This Pokemon stands out from other electric types in the format, with its more defensive stat distribution, unique typing for OU, and its proficiency on Sun teams. Let's take a look at all the different ways that you can use Raging Bolt in Gen 9 OU, and why it's performing so well in the early metagame. Subscribe to the channel to prevent the past paradox form of Girafarig, Greater Neck, from extending the length of his influence any further. Thank you. At a glance, Raging Bolt looks pretty fantastic. It has an enormous 125 base HP stat, good enough defense to take advantage of all that health, an even bigger 137 base special attack stat, and honestly decent speed considering its bulk. An electric dragon typing is quite solid defensively too. Resistances to electric, fire, grass, and water give Raging Bolt plenty of opportunities to enter the field safely and begin posing a threat. Immunity to paralysis is also really helpful against special walls like Blissey. Because of Raging Bolt's signature move, you don't even need to be faster than the enemy to scare them away after entering the field. The move Thunderclap is an amazing priority move that seriously makes up for Raging Bolt's below average speed. This is an electric type special move that has 70 base power. The drawback is that this move will fail if your enemy does not use an attacking move. So this is basically an electric type special version of the move Sucker Punch, making Raging Bolt kind of like a special attacking version of King Gambit, a powerful, bulky wall breaker that makes up for its low speed with priority. The metagame is still in its early stages, and I'm sure there are many different ways to take advantage of Raging Bolt's excellent tools that we've yet to discover. But the most obvious and most popular way to use Raging Bolt so far has been on Sun teams. Just like every other past Paradox Pokemon, Raging Bolt has the ability Protosynthesis, which grants a boost to your highest stat if Sun is active, or if a booster energy is consumed. In the Sun, Raging Bolt can reach a gargantuan special attack stat of 510. This makes your priority Thunderclaps even scarier, and Stab Draco Meteor hits extremely hard too, but Raging Bolt has more where that came from. Weather Ball is another great option for coverage. In the Sun, this move becomes a 100 base power fire type special attack. This is a great way to punish grass types that think they're safe against your electric moves, and steel types that try to come in against dragon moves. This is also just a really good neutral attack, thanks to the Sun boost. This is nice to have when you don't want to drop your special attack with Draco Meteor, or potentially get punished for using Thunderclap. Calm Mind has been a popular choice on Raging Bolt for obvious reasons, enhancing both its attack power and its bulk. Volt Switch even gives you a hard-hitting stab pivot move, which is really fantastic, allowing you to maintain momentum. Solar Beam is another option that could maybe be considered on Sun teams, but I think you're already good enough at hitting water types with your electric stab, and running this move makes you a bit worse when Sun isn't up. Even without Sun on the field, to activate Protosynthesis, Raging Bolt is a perfectly solid bulky special attacker on its own merits. Much like King Gambit, Raging Bolt is pretty easy to fit on teams, helping you out defensively, giving you a nice priority option for common fast threats and win conditions, and also giving you some damage output. Assault Vest is a very logical choice here, enhancing Raging Bolt's bulk even further. Assault Vest grants you a 1.5 times special defense boost, with the drawback of not allowing you to use any non-attacking moves. Raging Bolt has a good enough offensive move pool to fill out an Assault Vest moveset. Draco Meteor, Volt Switch, and Thunderclap are obvious choices. Dragon Tail is another good option as a way to force out enemy Pokemon. An Assault Vest set can be quite predictable and exploitable though, without any of the important utility or boosting moves that Raging Bolt can usually take advantage of. Raging Bolt doesn't have any super effective move to hit ground types, which is unfortunate. Stab Draco Meteor tends to get the job done, but against something like Iron Treads or other bulky steel and fairy types, you can struggle. Another popular way to use Raging Bolt has been with bulky boost sweeping sets. No other Calm Mind sweeper gets a powerful special priority move like this this, which is a huge benefit. Substitute is a great way to play around status moves, and it even allows you to 1v1 Blissey if their only attack is Seismic Toss. Seismic Toss deals a flat 100 damage, but since Raging Bolt has such high HP, it can easily create substitutes with more than 100 health. Creating a substitute will therefore generate a free turn for you against Blissey, allowing you to heal up with leftovers and stack enough Carmine boosts to break through. The downside to running substitute is that your moveset starts to get a bit restricted. You usually want Thunderclap for the priority, but with only 8 PP and also inherent counterplay to it, this can become an unreliable option on such a set. If you're using substitute, Carmine, Thunderclap, and a dragon stab move, a simple fairy type can just wall you completely by never attacking you. If you're going in a super bulky direction like this with a defensive Terra type, substitute, and everything on Raging Bolt, you could consider dropping Thunderclap just to improve your consistency. Terra Blast is another cool option. Terra Water is nice defensively, and Terra Blast Water complements Electric Stab well too. Even just the normal type special attack could be a useful neutral move in some games if you don't want to commit to Terra. Simple offensive sets with miscellaneous utility options are also valid. Taunt is a great option that can disrupt enemy walls, denying them from using status moves or other forms of non-attacking counterplay. This can also be a great way to set up Thunderclap since they now have to use an attack or switch out. Thunderwave is another good utility option that could punish faster threats or switch-ins attempting to play around Thunderclap. Ground types may be hesitant to switch into Raging Bolt's big Draco Meteor, which can also make Thunderwave more consistent. Body Press is an interesting mixed option. Since it deals damage based on the user's defense stat rather than their attack stat, it's probably the best option for a physical attack on this Pokemon if you need one. Raging Bolt actually does have a pretty good physical move pool, but it doesn't really have the attack to back it up. Body Press could catch Blissey or King Gambit by surprise, which is quite nice. Overall, I actually really like this Pokemon's design. Thunderclap is an awesome new signature move, and Raging Bolt also strikes a nice balance between having a decent amount of moveset variety, but not too much coverage or tools to the point of being overwhelming. Without Sun, your best options are mostly stab moves, which can make you predictable. But there's also plenty of interesting utility moves to mix and match, and even different directions you can go in with EVs that'll prevent this Pokemon from being too much of a one-trick pony, and allow it to fit on multiple team styles. On Sun teams in particular, this guy does feel pretty overwhelming at the moment. Sun teams used to mostly be restricted to fire and grass type threats, but now you have Pokemon like this which really help round things out. So far in Gen 9 OU, whenever new content comes out, Sun teams tend to dominate in the early metagames, especially with multiple powerful Paradox Pokemon that have Protosynthesis. This is a very obvious way to go for early teams. As the metagame progresses, they tend to remain relevant, but not quite as dominant as they were early on. We'll have to see if that trend continues this time around. Raging Bolt feels particularly excellent on Sun, but I'm sure we'll figure out how to adapt. What do you think of Raging Bolt? Who was your favorite of the new Paradox Pokemon introduced in the DLC? And what would you like me to talk about next? Let me know down below in the comments, and thank you for watching.
KO by one hit! It scattered spikes!
The money got different, cause of what I'm spending.